I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Good evening to all those in the gallery. Many people in the gallery. Wow. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Couple items on my mayor's address tonight. Just some activities that I've been around and about. April 23rd, I had county council meeting and also the Element and Property Committee and as well the Operations Committee. On April 28th, the Shrine Hill Day of Mourning. Council and myself both in attendance. April 29th, we had an Irish gathering meeting. May 1st, Annie and myself were at Mark Wilmer's Celebration of Life, which was an outstanding event. May 3rd was the Environmental Action Tour. I'll have more on that, I'm sure. May 5th, we had our finance meeting last night. And also, just an update as far as the Frechette daily update. We are on this, Round Lake is on a slow decline. It was down 2 centimeters and they're expecting rainfall of 1.8 millimeters. And their phrase is currently at summer water level, which is good. And it has been a long 3 weeks and my phone has not stopped ringing. We need to have meetings every second week, not every third week. Does anyone have any pecuniary or financial interest in Clark? Haven't seen that. We're gonna move on to delegations, and our first delegation is Nirvana Fernandez with DNR, and also the Killeen Craft Fair Board. So are you two gonna be the spokespeople?
Yes, it's gonna be myself and Taisha, and then there's also Sig who's on the Zoom as well.
Okay, so you two wanna grab a seat and we'll start. I have some questions to begin with. So my first question is, has the Killeen Craft Fair Board agreed to host this festival?
We've agreed to take it to this point and want to explore the possibilities.
Are there any documents that have been signed?
Only the permit.
So you are here tonight as council for a special event permit
Correct.
for the weekend of, I believe, September 12th to the 14th,
September 11th to
11th.
15th.
11th to 15th. And it's located on the craft fair site.
Correct.
Tammy, have all the permit requirements been approved with the permit?
The permit has been submitted, but I have not reviewed it at this point.
So at this point, let's proceed with the presentation. Okay,
So I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to introduce Sig, our festival director, and have him speak about his experience in producing music festivals, not just music festivals, but all sorts of music festivals. So I'm gonna let him speak and then I'll cover the site plan and go from there.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. I don't know if you can hear me. Hopefully you can. Thanks for having me here today. I do have over 20 years of experience in music festivals and large-scale live events. Started out in radio, moved to music festivals in New Orleans, producing events that range from 25 to 75,000 people a day, which has included the Voodoo Music Experience in New Orleans, the Summer Smash in Chicago, which is a hip hop festival, Elements Festival in the Poconos, which is a EDM jam band camping festival. I also have done esports, which is professional computer video games on 4 continents around the world with Activision Blizzard. I take great joy and pride in working with independent producers such as Nirvana, and working with people like I'm not sure if Coalition is on the phone on the call yet or not, but true professionals in every way, shape, and form who take great pride in great entertainment, great collaborations with communities, and also keeping safety as the #1 goal for everyone to go and enjoy the benefit of a great live event. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to working with you all moving forward.
I'd also submitted his CV, his resume is also attached in the documents under SIG Best Events.
Under where, sorry?
It's called SIG CVV. It was sent in the zip file I sent over with the application. Yep. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one. So,
Could you make sure you speak in a real loud voice? I'm sitting right behind the fan there. I can't-
yeah, absolutely, I got you.
I'm a deaf woman.
Absolutely. Okay, so I just wanted to start off by saying that this is not people coming together and using a bunch of volunteers to produce a music festival like in the past that has occurred in this town. We're a fully professional group. We do this for a living. I myself have been doing this for the past 5 years in Toronto. We've produced outdoor concerts. We frequently do indoor concerts under what's called DNR Productions, Dream New Realities. And then we work with individuals like SIG to produce festivals. And as you can see, the resume is quite impressive. He's worked with some of the largest festivals in the world. They're overnight camping festivals. And his resume speaks for itself. Our other partners, Coalition Entertainment in this festival has a very similar resume, but unfortunately they're not here with us on this call today. And I would like to get into the site plan if we could have that pulled up. We need to zoom, so the zoom out button, yeah. So. That's okay. If you take a look at the site plan, everything in the green zone is what we would call the festival bowl. So that's where the entertainment zone is going to be, so everything over there from art activation to yoga classes to wellness spokespersons to the stages with the music on them. They're all gonna be in the back end of the festival grounds so that we're able to create a barrier between the sound and it traveling beyond. And then to speak to the sound as well, we submitted in our sound mitigation plan. We are using state-of-the-art equipment, and it's not like 10 to 15 years ago where you couldn't control sound. You can actually now do it through software and steering. So we're gonna have all the sound focused in the back over there and all the stages and stuff. That area over there is what we call our forest camping zone. So there's an existing infrastructure over there, well, a site clearing that's gonna allow for that. And then up top is where we plan on having the camping zone is up there. So we've seen pictures of what's taken place in the past and on these grounds. We plan on going in and actually marking out each site and each allotment. So 10 by 10 are the camping spaces, and then depending on if it's car camping or not, those allotment sites change, but we go in right before the festival takes place, and we mark those out so that we can best utilize the space and make it as efficient as possible. The parking zone is to the right where it currently exists. And then our ingress and egress process up top, and this is all draft, by the way. So if the idea is to bring people into the ground and off the roads and then have them searched, and as you see in our security plan that we submitted, that we have 16 car searchers and we'll have 16 ticket scanners, and everything's done via RFID. So once you're scanned in, you're in, and we're able to track you in all of your movements. And then we have like the little trails and stuff like that, but that's existing. Trails that are, or roads that are already there. We will work with fire to get our exact fire lanes between the campsites. We're still waiting a response from the fire chief. If you have any questions regarding the campsite, you can direct those towards me and Nick. Meet me and say, sorry.
Well, I have some questions.
Absolutely.
Are you gonna be clearing the land to make this happen? Cause like, what's going to be happening in terms of the land, like
So we're, so
environmental
every,
assessments and all that kind of stuff?
so environmental assessments, we've already reached out to Gemtech to do a report. We're not we have no plans to clear any of the old mature trees or existing stuff. There are new early growth fields. There used to be fields about 30 years ago. And we're gonna be bringing in Gemtech to give us an environmental assessment of clearing those two, where you see, yeah, 1 and 2, those 2 spots. It's early growth, it is currently not a marsh or a swamp. So before it gets to that point, you know, bugs will come out, mosquitoes will be a problem for the site as it is if it keeps going down the way it's going right now, but once we submit our environmental report to the board, they're gonna make the decision on that stuff.
Okay, so I just wanna be clear, the crafter board has not 100% said yes.
We have not, because we
Because there's
just
still
found out
pieces
about this
missing.
less than a week ago.
Okay, that's what I wanna be clear on,
Sure.
so coming to us for a permit at this point.
So it's the catch-22, then they first said, right? So to get the environmental teams in, to pitch this to our members and to our board. To do all that, and then like to make sure that they can have a permit to do this, you know, the logical first step.
Well, that's why I had asked originally that question.
Mhm.
If-
And I said, we were totally, like, we wanna find it, we can't commit to it wholly without having an environmental assessment.
If you're not
Yeah.
committed, then
But we
you
can't do
come,
that.
you can't come before us and ask for a permit if you're not committed.
We are we are verbally committed, but you're asking us to, both of us to invest money into environmental people and then also. Invest money into lawyers to oversee agreements. But I don't think I speak on behalf of Killaloe and myself, it's a catch-22 situation where. We're not asking for a final permit approval, we're asking for a tentative permit approval because. We can't even get our final permit approvals until health and safety inspects the site 2 days before the event. So we're asking for a tentative, and in a tentative, there's conditions placed on the approval,
The
i.e.
board
The
did
bo-
have
the
an emergency
environmental.
meeting, and we did meet this week and voted to be here to proceed to, you know, explore this for sure. It's one of the possibilities, but there's a lot of pros and cons and a lot of things to consider. Especially the land changes.
I can ask, the rest of the council if they feel comfortable in doing a provisional. But, and I'll ask the question, Brian, just hang on, Carl.
Okay,
Brian, are you willing to do a provisional?
No.
Carl,
I'd like to ask a question if I could.
if you answer my question first.
No.
Okay. So no one to answer my question or?
I wanna ask a question, go to your question.
Okay.
Well, I think we can't expect people to spend thousands of dollars. On lawyer fees and studies. And then they spend all that money and then they come back and say, no, we really don't like this idea, so we're not going to. So I think we can, but we have to have conditions.
Okay. It's broken. Brian, do you wanna change your opinion? No? Okay. Carol?
Oh. I don't know. I need more information.
Yeah, same.
I hear what Ted's saying. So if we give a tentative yes, and then you go and put it in, where do we get to back out? If, like, how do we decide if we're going to back out if you get one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we don't meet the conditions, so normally, how, in our experience, how this goes is we always get a tentative approval from city council at first. Which then has conditions such as compliance with police, compliance with health and safety, compliance with the paramedic services. And you know, compliance with fire, as well as now, in this case, because of land clearing, the board needs to be the board has requested that we do an environmental study to gauge the impact of clearing those two lots on their property. So, but that's a requirement of the board. The council's part is to determine what the council would need to feel comfortable to move forward.
So does the board feel comfortable if they do that environmental study? And it's okay? Are you giving them blessing?
Not that simple. We need that information about the land changes before we can give any kind of balanced situation to be presented to our members, because it's a board. You know, this would be a lot simpler if it was one landowner, but it's a membership. We have to present to our members and to the board of directors. So without knowing the environmental impacts, we can't just say, yeah, go ahead and change our land.
And no one would be effectively do that.
Yeah, so that's where we stand on it.
Also, if the environmental study shows that it's near, like, is gonna be too difficult for us, then we're not gonna force through and, you know, environmentally wreck something. That's not who we are as a company. We take social responsibility in the way we conduct business, as seen through our commitment letter that we sent over to council and the way in which we operate. We do keep everyone in mind and everything in mind when we produce these festivals. Also, our community from which our clients come from are, you know, very socially conscious as to how we hold ourselves and the way in which we conduct business, so.
I have a question, I don't mind.
You gotta ask yourself.
Well,
Okay, you go first.
how many people do you expect at this? 2,000, 3,000?
We would like to have a max capacity of 5,000 people. We would like to have a max capacity of 5,000 people, but that's max sellable. We are currently sitting at, I think it's around 600 tickets sold at this point, so. We would like to be able to go up to 5,000, that's why we would like to create the space. And cause even right now, at this moment in time, the site is not exactly where it's at to host to.
Another question for you.
Yeah.
On that, our side road up there, where are you gonna put all these cars there? Last time they had one there, you couldn't get through with a fire truck, you couldn't get through with a police car, they're all over the road, you couldn't even move up that road.
Okay, so that's why.
Where are you gonna put 5,000 people?
Okay, so, all the camping is what we define as car camping. So you get to park right beside, you park and then you camp right beside your car. And we've done the measurements of the field, that's about 5 acres of land over there up top. So in also like creating the fire lanes and the existing stuff, we did look at it and place it out and map it out. It is possible to do that there, and then what we're gonna do is, Dave, like I said earlier, it's not gonna be disorganized. We're gonna have clearly laid out lots. So carefully measured lots in each of the spaces, and then we're also to address your concerns about traffic. As submitted in our security team is going to be bringing 24 individuals to manage the traffic. And I've done so with Ottawa Jazz Fest and all the other festivals in place.
But I still don't think you park enough cars there with even 2,000 people on our road will be jammed, you know, you open, sorry, we got people. Well, where are they gonna park then?
They're not gonna be parking on the road, that's why we're bringing them onto the site to be able to park.
You don't get them in there, sir.
Brian?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but I'm gonna start with just a couple here. So first of all, that's private property, I believe. I'm.
Yeah.
And who owns?
Fair.
it? Oh,
Owns the property.
So, okay,
That's why, Brent, excuse me, but that's why we've said Killaloe Fair is applying to the permit.
okay. And entrances, how many entrances are into that property?
There's two entrances which we plan to expand to allow more traffic to come in off Fencer, like faster off the road. So we're gonna pay to expand those entrances, put in place in new gates. And there's two spots, as you can see clearly outlined on the map as to where the security checkpoints are. And then we're gonna expand those entrance gates to allow close to 3 lanes to come in.
So just throwing this out there for you, you're gonna put 5,000 vehicles or people's vehicles in that property.
No, so the way in which we sell our camping spots, they're, each camping spot is for, 4 people. So what ends up happening is a lot of these people end up carpooling because, and the other way in which we manage this is if you come with an extra car, you actually have to pay extra money to have an extra car on site. So a lot of our crowds, they'll show up in groups of 5 in their cars. We've done this before. And what we see that the average is 4 people to a car end up showing up, so 5,000 people is 1,000 cars realistically. Campsites are sold in lots of 4s.
So
So,
let's just say you're gonna have to have at least 2,000 vehicles in there,
okay,
like what you're saying.
yeah,
What happens if there's a fire breaks out and we need to get fire trucks in there? How are you gonna get 2,000 vehicles out and not hit a fire truck coming in?
so the fire trucks will stay on the perimeter edge right there, the well is towards the left side over there. Of which they can tap into, the fire hoses will be able to they can extend quite far. And we'll be able to take care of any fires up there in that top. It's also open, it's also a completely flat field. Secondly, we have fire bans all throughout our festival. You're not allowed to have a fire. We have no pyro on our festival at all. We have a 24-hour rolling security to monitor all of this. So at all times, there will be security walking through the campgrounds to make sure that there's no fires.
You have to remember that we're not downtown Toronto here,
I'm-
rural bush, if there's a fire, that could be a big fire.
Absolutely, that's why we will work with the fire department and make sure that we comply with the standards that they set forward.
Okay, and then I just have another question is, why did you choose this spot for this festival? What's the reason behind that? Was this your first choice or second, third choice or what?
Our first choice was to conduct this festival at BLR grounds. At the, if you're familiar with the Twin Music Festival where they have their festival every year. So we had done everything we needed to do, we did compliance with the fire chief, he okayed everything, he actually helped us design our first site plan. And, you know, everything was going swimmingly, council for the most part was on our side and on board with everything. However, there was a little bit of resistance with the people of that town. That they weren't willing to, let's say, accept our sense of community and everything, no matter how much infrastructure we provided, how much planning we provided. Like, you know, we were bringing in 5 kilometers of fencing to fence off the entire perimeter, so there's no in and out. We still have that plan on this plan as well, we're gonna be fencing off this entire property. We had 12 paramedics plus harm reduction plus 2 ambulances on site with 2 triage tents on site. That would be fitted with all the medical needs that you could possibly require for a festival to take place. And no matter what we had done, even though the council was on our side, and you can take a look at the previous meetings that council was advocating for us, however, at the last second, the owner of the land felt a lot of external pressure from his neighbors. And because of that external pressure from his neighbors, decided to back out. That is what happened on the previous grounds.
So
And then-
question is, we, say 5,000 people coming, to this festival? Obviously, they're not all from Killaloo because you'd have everybody, their kids and their kids. And I don't think, that's gonna happen. So where are these people coming from?
Toronto and Ottawa mostly,
So why is the festival not closer to Toronto or Ottawa?
because
Save a lot of
Because
traffic.
because the experience that we're trying to create cannot be done inside a city. The whole idea of this festival is to escape city life. It's to come out, be in nature. Unfortunately, there's just no nature in Toronto. We've got cars and noise pollution and you've got, everything like far in between and it's just not an escape. So that's why we picked that's why we picked the rural areas and with the massive amounts of space, we're also able to configure the sound so that it doesn't bleed as much.
So you have just mentioned that word noise pollution here, so we have residents in Killaloo, Haggard and Richards Township that probably don't like noise pollution themselves. So I'm not sure we're gonna get 100% agreement on this.
I mean, like, if you take a look at our sound mitigation plan and you see the sound systems that we're using. It's not something that the town has experienced before, nor the Killaloo, craft fair has used these. These pieces of machinery that we're bringing in are cost upwards of $6 million. And that it allows you to steer the sound, and then we do something known as a cardioid sub-deployment. Which cancels out the bass going past a certain point. So, and we've submitted that in our sound mitigation plan. We run this in densely populated areas before in the States and stuff like that, so we'd be able to do what we're saying we're doing.
Okay, Brian, we'll move on to other questions if anyone has. I'll come back to him. Okay,
So how many people do we usually get at the crowd over?
Probably 500 to 700. I think in years past, it's definitely been at the 1,000-2,000 mark.
Noise, does the craft fair get complaints for the noise?
No.
Yeah, this is.
Yes. Do we?
Yes.
I haven't seen any.
I got it years ago when the road was plugged up there.
okay, we're dealing with questions.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. And it's,
Yeah, so there's a lot of discussion. About trees and environment. If somebody's gonna cut their bush out. Do we get involved with that? Like if a logging got down, something.
private property.
That's right. So really, this has no concern to us as counselors, what they do with their property up there. So that stuff has to come out of the conversation because unfortunately, it's private property and it's. That is. Have you guys done one of these anywhere in Ontario yet? I know you tried the LR.
We have done outdoor events in Ontario, yes, we have not done this in Ontario, like an overnight camping festival, but we have done plenty of overnight camping festival outside.
And will there be people bussed in? I received a few emails saying that people will be bussed in and they won't be allowed to leave the grounds.
No, so we do currently have an in and out policy, which means no in and out. That's allows us to control and mitigate traffic, number one, is one of our biggest things. We have a no in and out policy so that people are not allowed to leave the fenced in area and, for whatever reason. Go and loiter around town, we're able to control everything, as long as people, that's why we have the in and out policy. As to buses coming in, we have not yet launched a shuttle service, but we were planning to launch a shuttle service from Toronto Airport and from Ottawa Airport to the festival grounds where the people will become dropped off with their camping gear, they'll camp for the days that they're there, and then proceed onwards. And then I'm guessing the next question is gonna be like, how are you gonna make sure that they're fed and stuff? We have food vendors, we have water tankers coming in, from water sponsors that will be able to keep everyone hydrated. We have on-site, temporary shower facilities that will be coming in, that will draw from the well. We have sanitation, like, I believe 125 porta potties and 6 VIP, units that will be, coming into the festival, all of which will be serviced by Purple Bodies. They will bring in their own water tankers, leave them on site, they will clear the waste and then take the waste back to Ottawa to dispose of it twice a day. And then same for a waste management company that will segregate recycling and regular garbage also will be done twice a day. We have cleanup crews, touching 100 people cleanup crews that will sweep the grounds at the end of every night to gather any garbage left on thing. We also have an incentive program for all clients attending the festival that we put up on the screens. Fill up for every bag of garbage that you bring to our garbage disposal booth. We give them an item of merch or something like that to incentivize them to help us keep the lands clean. So yeah, we're working through that with health and safety on the food stuff. Which will be mostly food, which will be food trucks that have their licenses and certificates to serve.
I'm not sure if I missed it or not, but you said. Porta potty, all that stuff will be taken away. What about the garbage? Will it be taken?
All waste generated from this festival will be taken outside all the way to Ottawa or to Kingston to dispose of the waste, and that includes the waste from the porta potties and the loos, and that also includes garbage and recycling will all be taken out of this township, so that there's no strain on its resources.
So good. Okay. Let's go this side, Harold.
I have a couple of concerns. One is 5,000 people. We have a very small hospital in the area. I'm talking to a few people from the hospital, they're concerned about guiding 5,000 people. They can't handle the emergency stuff. Also, you know there's gonna be police calls. Who's gonna pay for the police calls? The township? Not likely.
No, we're not paying for, you wouldn't have to pay for any of the police calls. We are actually going to put out a request for off-duty paid officers to all of Ontario to help us manage anything for, police on that end.
No.
I think what Harold is insinuating is that at the end of the year, we get an OEP bill.
Okay,
So any calls that they respond to, there's a charge to the township. So let's say, no matter what your policing does, if they get a call to the OPP and they respond to that, we get dinged. Okay, at the end of the year, we get a bill.
okay, so,
It's broken down, but one of the segments is how many calls they responded to in our municipality. But I think Harold was, I didn't mean to interrupt, but is that?
No, that's only,
Okay.
exactly.
okay, so for any of the calls that are serious, like you'd put the bill. And as long as it's within, if it's like within reason, if someone from 20 miles away is complaining about the sound that they can't hear, then
I'm
They
more
shouldn't
concerned
be
with
on site.
the police calls on site.
yeah, we will, we
Not
will,
neighbors.
we will foot the
On
bill.
site.
We will foot the bill. We are also paying to have off-duty officers on site, as with standard practice with all concerts. This is why we have them, so that they can manage all problems on site. They're allowed to do arrests, they are still police officers, even though they're off duty. We're just paying them so that we don't stray the town's resources. And then same with paramedics, we have First Response Ontario, that is our paramedic service. They do private EMS, they manage most of the festivals in Ontario. And we have 12 paramedics, we submitted the plan in the excerpts, 2 triage tents. Fully loaded with everything from AED machines to hydration packs. We'll have ACs inside the tents for cooling. Individuals, they'll be able to respond to everything. They're also all practitioners as well. They're not just the basic paramedics. And yeah, they'll be on site. Not only that, there's a commitment. So for any of the neighbors that are within the close vicinity of our thing, if they have any issues, Renfrew County will be instructed to tell us about it, and because we'll have a faster response time than Renfrew County sending out a paramedic, our team will respond to them instead. Just that they're getting faster treatment.
Bill,
what's in it for us? You're bringing 5,000 people to town and putting them in a cage and not letting them off the site. So is there any economic benefit to
There is economic
our
benefit. We've
businesses?
Yeah, so we're already talking to a lot of local businesses in town. You know, and we, like, for example, Rhett, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rhett, but he owns in Rockingham Tree Services. We've been in touch with the Engine Brewery. They're gonna be our exclusive coffee providers for the festival for all those people. As you've seen, like, if you can pull up our commitment letter. We have a higher local first policy, as long as it's fair market price, we will hire first from this town. Before we go anywhere else, if they're able to service our needs. If you pull up the commitment letter.
What's it called? Commitment letter?
Commitment letter, so, yeah. So we also have a per ticket donation to the township to disperse and onto like any of your programs that you currently have, youth programming, senior programming, so $5 per ticket will be remitted to the township. On top of that, we have contract local first policy, so all of our like any contracting work, for example, the forestry stuff, any carpentry work, any like general contracting stuff will go to them first. We've already started talking to local businesses, like I said, like the Engine Coffee House, they're coming to do coffee and possibly catering. We've spoken to AJ's Pizza, we're going to be using them for an exclusive pizza delivery service at the festival. We've got the Food Mart that we're gonna have to set up a general store with, the satellite general store at the festival grounds. Then I believe there's a lumber yard that's here that we're gonna need to utilize to build whatever we need to build. So we will go to those people first. And then we also have opportunities for local craft vendors and artists. Tasha's gonna be helping me with that one. We wanna get the local craft vendors in at the festival. They don't have to pay a fee like anyone from Toronto or from Ottawa or from outside this township. They have to pay a fee to vend at the festival, but anyone from the local community does not have to pay a fee to vend at the festival. And then we also have a higher local policy, so, when we need, like, again, parking attendants or, you know, just those smaller positions, we will be hiring from the local town first. The moment we get an approval, we actually would take your permission on how to do our job posting locally, post on the town boards and around town. And then set that up and start bringing in all those people for the jobs. And like you said, like it's not just the music for us, it's an art and wellness festival. So we'll be reaching out to a few wellness people, and we will be doing a lot of art installations to help bring the site to life. And I understand Killaloe is a town of many artists, people that would be employed by us to help build our vision.
Anything else, Bill?
That's all.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, with this level of investment that you guys are making into the craft fair, what's your expectation? Putting all this money in, what are you wanting, like in terms of a commitment? And then like, if this goes kind of like south, if we decide after this year, you know what, these guys are not for our town, you're not for us, and we say. No, like, how is this all gonna impact each, you know what I mean? How's this all gonna like bubble up in the end?
I mean, like, we're confident in our ability to deliver on the promises we said, so we'll clearly outline the conditions. If we don't meet the conditions, then we're not allowed back, it's as simple as that, we're not. And for our commitment with the thing, I think like nobody wants us, like, how can you actually measure? An economic impact of somebody coming into your town if we get to be here for 4 days? Like a festival like this, actually, like on my end, I have employees. 12 months out of the year focusing on this festival alone.
Mhm.
So, and it's going to be the same when we come in here, there is going to be constant, like, we're gonna keep. You know, like, to have people employed, come up with new ideas for local businesses, okay, how can we, from the previous year. Where were we not able to, what did we not capitalize on from a socioeconomic standpoint? As to how we can do it better for the township. We won't be able to need to have our first year to even determine that, and that's why. From when we do this, we'd like to come in and actually. Build this out with you guys, not just come in here and then leave. That's not how you build a long lasting relationship.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I have another question. So is this a one-time thing, or do you expect to do it every year, or?
We expect to do, like, the goal is if we meet all the compliance standards and the township is happy in which. The way that we've produced this event, then yes, the goal is to have this yearly, annually. That is the goal.
Have you had it every place every year?
Yes, so Elements is, say, how long is Elements on goal?
Elements has been around for 10 years. It started as a one-day music festival in a warehouse in Brooklyn. It then moved on to a summer camp in the Poconos, and 4 years ago, we've outgrown those spots. 4 years ago, we moved to the Pocono Raceway, and it is our home. We have signed a multi-year agreement. We're in partnership with the Pocono Raceway. We actually work closely with them in all logistics, from working with the town, working with waste management, working with environmental conditions, concessionaire sales, and actually build some structures that stay in their woods year round, as part of the relationship. And again, different, this is a separate entity, but the idea is, this is a collaborative relationship, and what makes these events really magical and beneficial for both sides is this open discussion we're having right now, doing the show, doing great things together, learning from, what happened in year one, meeting with the town council shortly after this first year, and talking through the things that worked, the things that maybe were stressful, and things that we can do better and improve, and how do we grow. Of course, being involved with each other and having this relationship, we're going to be in and out of, well, we don't live there. We will be coming and visiting and having meetings and using resources with local businesses and building relationships. So this isn't a 4-day swing. It's the beginning immediately of hopefully a multi-year relationship where we grow together, and the township benefits from our efforts too.
Thank you.
Any other questions? It's Sean.
So to get this rolling, if you want, what's the timeline? I honestly don't think we can make that decision, in my opinion, tonight. It'll probably have to be at their next council meeting in 2 weeks.
We're not, again, we came here before you to present. I understand that you have to reconvene and go out and discuss this internally, absolutely. And just ask that that there is a level of transparency that we keep with each other. That's it. Just don't want to be left in the dark, or if you have any concerns or any questions, please reach out to us, and so that we can address them instead of, trying to get answers for yourself, from yourselves, because we can provide the evidence and, best answer those questions as we're the organizers of the event.
Perfect. Okay, I have a couple.
Go.
Let's take, for example, the $5 per person back to
Yeah.
the township. Is there any fixed area that you would like us to use that money to, or preference? Like, say if we said to you that we'd like to take half that money and donate it to the food bank.
You can do exactly what you wanna do with that money.
So you have no restrictions on your end, or
Nope,
I could even say 100% goes to the food bank.
no, we will write the check out to this town. And you can use the money how you see fit as best suited to the needs of this town.
Is there a guarantee on back to the town?
The guarantee is $5 per ticket sold.
So that's your guarantee. Like, it's not, take example, regardless, if we only give so many people, you get 10,000, or, that type of thing. So it's based strictly on $5 per ticket.
It's $5 per ticket. If the town is asking for a donation, Because
If it doesn't reach your goal.
Minimum sales,
there's no,
like if you only sell 1,000 tickets, that's what it's asking.
oh no, if we sell 1,000 tickets, you get $5 of those. If I sell one ticket, you get $5 of that ticket. We have no minimum on our end. It is completely dead set as the commitment is to you. $5 per ticket sold will be remitted to the township.
And my last question to you
Yeah.
is, do you have a policy for whoever comes in has to leave also?
So,
Because the reason I'm asking, because during my research, I've heard of people at your concerts staying and having a very difficult time in having them removed, and they end up with encampments. And I think that would be a very bad thing for our community.
at my festivals,
Yeah,
my company.
yeah.
My company has never had
People have reached out to me and told me that. But I wanted to bring that to you.
That's not possible because we've never, like I said, Ontario had a camping music festival before, so. We run most of our things at existing venues outside of, in Toronto, even the outdoor events, so that information is flat
Okay,
out
so
false.
I will, so you.
But we will have,
You can guarantee us that no one will remain.
absolutely, our security guards will make sure people pack up and leave. Our security guards will not be allowed to leave the premise until, we also can't strike our equipment with people on site, it's not safe. So we need to remove all the individuals from the premise of the grounds, put them in their cars and send them home.
Because you've done a site tour.
Yeah.
It's a large place, and there are places like, you're not gonna have everything fenced in, probably. Or when the fences do come down, people will roam.
The fences cannot come down until everyone has been moved off premise.
Okay.
The security teams, our production team, so that's our entire team, is 350 individuals. All paid, all have a job and a duty to do. That includes cleanup, securities, jobs to make sure that the grounds are kept. And everyone kept within those perimeters. When it comes to egress, which is supposed to take place on Monday, it will start as early as Sunday. Evening, and then obviously once the sun sets, because there's no street lights over here, we close the egress progress because we don't want people driving at night. Then we'll open back up next day as early as 5 AM. And have people leaving, and we will make sure everyone leaves the site, and we will sweep the entire premise.
I'll just add also, we will, traditionally for a camping festival, you'll have it so that the Monday morning egress has to be done by noon. We can discuss what that looks like, but it's well communicated, and it is understood that come noon Monday, you are out and it's over. There's no sitting around and extending your stay. So that's part of the commitment and the agreement in the ticket purchase.
Yeah, there's also the only people who will be staying on site past the 15th are staff. So like the production team needs to strike all the equipment. The last thing to go down, absolute last thing to go down is that fencing perimeter. So we have until the 22nd to keep sweeping those ground and making sure no one's there. So we have past the 15th until the 22nd to remove all the equipment, clean the grounds, sweep it, check multiple times, and the last thing to go down on the last day is that fence. So no one will linger.
You've given us a lot of information. Your brochure is very detailed, and I'm sure once everyone takes all this information, there's a lot to think about, and I don't, with this short period of time, I think we need time to think about it. I don't think any of us around the table wanna jump in and jump right at, so I think Teddy alluded to the fact of 2 weeks' time. We'll have lots of time to think about it. The craft fair can also do some due diligence, and I'm sure you want to do that. So, but I think right now, thank you for the presentation and allow us to do more pondering
100%.
and research.
Yeah,
Fair.
absolutely.
Council, is that? Okay with everybody?
Did that go over 15 minutes?
Okay.
A little.
Yes, and I take full responsibility for holding the line limit. It was,
I wasn't watching, but.
no, you weren't. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trip, and thank you to the out there people and the audience for attending. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
And you're more than welcome, I'll say.
Yes, we're just beginning.
Yeah, get more excited. Oh, yeah.
I'll be right back. Thank you.
Okay, I gotta take a look, is there any pickleball people here? Are there delegation? Ready for our next delegation now? Oh.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. They take it easy. Have a good night. Safe drive. Okay.
Good to go? Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Whippen with Killdew and Area Pickleball Club. So we have a delegation here tonight. Just recognize some of my members. We have Linda Gavin, who's Vice President with Killdew Area Pickleball Club, and Aaron Trumpy is the Director, and I'm the current President. So thank you again. Just a bit of background on pickleball, a pickleball group. So let's start it up in 2023. So it was a local initiative with some seasonal, some permanent residents to organize pickleball clinics, pickleball games here at the Killdew rink. So that's been going on for a couple of years. The organization has grown and evolved. Last year it switched from an ad hoc committee to a unincorporated organization. So we now have a board of directors in place. Main reason for that was to obtain liability insurance. So as we've continued to evolve, that was one of the needs we saw. We've grown to have 88 members at the moment, and we have 48 people signed up for outdoor pickleball this summer already. We expect to see that grow as we see more seasonal residents come to the area. So in our request for the delegation, we provided a couple highlights on 2024. So we had scheduled over 180 different pickleball sessions through the summer. And had over 2,000 players at different points. So it's been very successful. There's brings a lot of people into Killdew, and I think it's a lot of spin-off benefits as well. So it's been a good program. And I want to thank the township for their support in getting it up and running. It's been a good partnership for closely with Bolton to get things going and address some of the needs. So we had 4 items that we wanted to go over with you tonight hopefully for a decision. So I highlighted those in our request for delegation. I'll just go through a little bit different order. First off is we're talking about a facility use agreement with the township. So we're hoping we can get that finalized and get that in place. We have run across a few different items we want to raise with you tonight. One was we see a lot of construction debris, and we're looking at really a spring cleaning program for the courts as a safety issue. The third item was related to drainage from pickleball courts, so there are some drainage challenges. And finally, I want to talk to you about township liaison going forward. So on the first item is the facility agreement. The township introduced the idea of having a facility use agreement earlier this year. So we've had some good initial discussions with that back in February, and had some tentative agreement on a number of different items. But that's not finalized yet, so we're hoping we can do that. And then as we go forward, there's new items that have come up as well. So again, one of them was this construction debris we see on the courts this summer. And then dealing with some of the maintenance during the summer period. So we do, we want to get this finalized, particularly because we want to understand what costs our group might be facing, because it's really self-funded by the members. So if there's any costs that are going to incur, we need to factor that into our fees for the summer program. So in terms of the agreement, we're like our neighbors to the south. We want to make a deal. We want to get that done. So second item was construction debris. So this spring, and I guess the last couple of springs, we've seen this, that there's a lot of gravel and sand accumulates on the courts. I don't know if it's the freeze thaw action or what. We thought maybe this would dissipate after a season of cleaning it, but it keeps coming back. So that's there's quite an accumulation every spring. So it's a fairly heavy lift to clean that entire surface. And this year was compounded further by some construction debris that was left behind from the upgrades to the boards. So we see screws and pieces of chain link fence which were left there. So these are all safety hazards for pickleball and safety hazards for other uses. So I guess our ask here really is for if the township can provide some support for a spring cleanup, ideally for this season, but also in the future, and really to make the courts safe for all uses through the summer months. So I'm not sure what equipment and resources you might be able to deploy. It's ideally sort of a street sweeper type of operation, but yeah, if you're able to support that at all, that'd be very helpful and good for anybody who's in the courts. Remember Karen has been in contact with some other groups as well, other pickleball clubs, and typically the municipality is cleaning the courts in the springtime, and then the club that takes on the maintenance and the cleaning operation through the summer. So using things like leaf blowers and brooms, that type of thing. So that's something that our volunteers have been doing the last couple of summers. Again, if there's any assistance you can provide, it's mainly with equipment. So it's sort of a leaf blower type equipment that would help to keep the courts clean. That would be helpful. We can also look to rely on our members' goodwill. So there are two asks there. One was spring cleaning. The second was the assistance with the equipment, such as blowers or other cleaning equipment. The third item I want to cover was a drainage issue, and this came up in our initial discussions that there is a low area on the courts that accumulates quite a bit of water when there's rain. So it basically means we can't use one and oftentimes two of the 5 courts. It's also a slip hazard if somebody does get close to that. So we've attempted to deal with this with brooms and squeegees and trying to push water out of this area, but it's quite a significant depression. Now we're basically trying to push water uphill. So although we do it, it's not particularly effective. So again, we're looking for any assistance the township could provide to address this condition. So we have given it some thought, a couple of different levels of or different ideas that could be implemented. So I say on an interim basis, so in the next leaks, potentially. This could be addressed through, pumps or possibly, through shop vacs. Used to collect the water and move it out of the way. So that's some equipment asked if that's, an opportunity. Beyond that, short-term basis, perhaps being over a series of months, would be to look at ways to facilitate, better drainage from that area. So it could involve putting in, drains, or it could involve, leveling the surface. All of which would have to be, compatible with the use as an ice rink. But again, it's your facility and your business, so if, maybe your team has some ideas on how that might be addressed, that would be ideal. And then on the longer term, it is, it's not a very even surface, so, ideally, long term would be to look for opportunities to improve the surface. So it could be, repairing asphalt or repaving certain sections of it. All that potentially costs money, will cost money. I'm not sure what resources the township could put towards it. We had some discussions with Colton in particular about some of the grant opportunities we've seen out there, and there do seem to be some that could be allocated for this type of activity. Another pickleball club that applied to the New Horizons for Seniors program and was awarded a $25,000 grant, which they allocated to their municipality to cover some of these improvements. So these are areas that we as a pickleball club can assist the township in accessing funding, grants potentially. Colton has made it clear that the township wants to, lead those efforts, but we do have a significant base of volunteers that could assist with grant applications, and hopefully that's successful. So we'll leave it on the table with you, but again, with the drainage, really looking for potentially 3 levels of assistance. One would be any interaction such as pumps or shop vacs. Short term would be catch basins or improve drainage, and longer term would be to really improve the surface. And our final point was on township liaison, so I think it'd be useful to have a working group with the township. Really to deal with managing this agreement, and then as I'm sure there's gonna be more issues or concerns that come up as we go forward. So basically, lines of communication to vet those items and determine an appropriate path forward. This could be a staff member and a counselor, or perhaps multiple staff members, and it's up to you. Couple other things I mentioned, that's also on the township liaison, like one of the things we've run across now is with the new boards on for the hockey rink. They seem to, the door seems to expand in the hot weather and it can't be opened. So it's just these ongoing items related to the condition of the facility and different maintenance. And so who do we go to deal with that type of thing? Maybe it's something the contractor can repair, I don't know, but yeah, basically the door jams. So again, another thing that's just come up in the last week or so, and we're looking for a way to work through that with you. So enclosure, really 4 items: facility use agreement, get it wrapped up so we all understand our roles and responsibilities. For the construction debris, looking for ideally spring cleaning this year and future years. Some access to equipment if that's possible, lower for ongoing maintenance. Drainage, on the drainage issue, I guess 3 different levels of potential interaction. And then finally to establish a working group with the township to manage this agreement going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
Very
your
good.
tonight.
No, else for any questions? Let's go this side. Right, or parents?
But I as a volunteer, was use that rink probably 12 summers with ball up.
Hmm.
So I know what the water thing is.
Right.
I squeegee by myself, I would squeegee it. I also then got into the shop vac,
Okay.
which is easy, you going over to the double door, dump it out,
Okay.
so I know what you're going through.
Yeah, yeah.
But to put in a drain,
Not in the
you're
rain.
taking away our ice, and that's not gonna happen.
Well, there may be ways to do that that are compatible with uses, so. And it's, once they get the discussion going and so we can find a solution.
That's how I do it,
Yeah.
myself in person.
Okay. So again, this goes back to what are the roles and responsibilities in this agreement? If that's something you're looking for our group or our group to do, then we can look at that as well. Again, it's a potential cost for.
Any other questions, Harold? Bill?
Well, just some comments with respect to the construction debris. Should that not be a contractor responsibility?
Well, first off, I'd like to apologize because, someone should have noticed that and they should have pointed it out to the installer. And that should have been cleaned up on site at the time of their, when they put the boards in.
Right.
It's probably certainly an oversight on everyone's part. And when you make the ice, you probably didn't even recognize it because it
Right,
didn't
it'll
get.
be under the ice, yes.
So when the ice melted, there's everything sticking out.
Right.
A good point, though.
Yeah, with the liaison committee, I mean, from my perspective, I see Colton, our community development officer. Or employee, he acts as that role
Okay.
with other groups like the Farmers Market. The Heritage and Mythology Society to bring those concerns to council on behalf or to support people, so. I don't know that I'd support an actual liaison committee, but that's not an ongoing time, a typical role of council. Spring cleanup, I'll leave that for staff.
Okay.
Yeah, it all feels very reasonable to me.
Yes.
The spring cleaning, yeah, that should be done every year, probably without question. The drainage, like Harold said, I don't know what the solution to that would be, other than a shop vac, because the ice is the primary function of that drain. You know, the most important, you guys are second most important, but the ice is like, that's the reason the ring is there. And a township liaison, it does make sense, I know I was involved kind of with, talking about the contract.
Right.
With you guys, so I don't mind also being a point of contact if you wanna have someone on council. But I think for your day-to-day things, it would be Colton and maybe would Dale be like the kind of go-to for repairs? Yeah, so maybe that could be added, like whatever, you know, you're feeling like the spring cleaning, the township liaison, maybe that could be added to that agreement that we made up. You know, so everybody's feeling good about that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No,
A couple things. Do, you charge leadership dues?
We do, yeah.
No,
$1. Just,
The intention for pickleball is to have it open for everybody in the community and whoever wants to play, so we don't want it to be limited,
yeah,
we want it to be open for.
I was just asking to purchase a shop vac and stuff like that.
Right. No, it goes a little, that's where we have an annual membership, which is. Part of it goes to Pickleball Canada, which is covered in largely insurance. You have a nominal $1 for annual membership for anybody that wants to join. Then we have it for the summer, we charge another $20, up to $20 is unlimited play. And that, or $2 a session. And then in the winter, it's different, it's all indoor, so it's different. So we do, that's sort of, again, we have a placeholder budget because we're just trying to figure out what our costs are gonna be this year, if it's anything different, rising to this remix out.
And how often do you use the court? Every day?
In the summer, I'd say it's pretty well every day right now, I think, I don't know, it's probably four to five times a week.
So what's just my opinion, I wouldn't have a problem with the spring cleanup by the township, but there's no way we're gonna be able to send somebody down there with a leaf blower to clean it off every day.
No, we're basically saying we're looking for the equipment, so at the moment, people are bringing on an ad hoc basis their own equipment to clean it off, I guess, similar to what you may have done in the past. You know, again, it's a question of what the expectation is, like it is a township facility, you're letting us use it. What's our responsibility, what's yours? You know, if you were able to provide the equipment, I'm sure we can get people to operate it probably more frequently, if it's near and accessible. If that's not in the cards, I don't want these type, but if that's not in the cards, then we'll look at other options.
One other thing about the water. Correct me if I'm wrong. I was told somebody chiseled some drains in the pavement last year to.
Nobody chisel. There was this low area where the water, where's all basically. That's where they meet. And we try to push the water through that, so that we get it to drain away, and it's really not very effective.
Because just, in my opinion. Your board knows, like. If there's damage to pavement and water, that would be the end of it. Well,
You can see the openings, even you can see openings around the side, so plug them somehow for
new project for the greenhouses and gardens up there. That matches the existing trilingual signs at the park and I'd like to incorporate that sign somehow physically to that structure that's gonna go up.
So we could have Tammy issue a letter to her that. The sign will get put up on the, do we know where the
I'm
sign
not
is?
speaking for council, and so people have to know.
Yeah, do we know where the sign is?
I do not know what the sign is.
Because I think, I'm not sure if she put that in the letter or she just told me that last week that they don't know where the sign is.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Mr. Neff may know where the sign is.
Okay, any questions?
Can I read this wrong? Did they say it was refurbished?
But it was intended to be refurbished.
No.
If someone can find a sign. Compare all of
Is it in the barn maybe? No. No. Is it in Wilma?
I don't even know where the chicken is.
it. Not for that.
That chicken's been missing for a few years now. So can we have maybe Golden check, see if he can find
All signs, Chris,
or
I'll have to Chris and Nelson, if you know, yes.
Maybe, maybe they could put it on the scavenger hunt. It's coming up.
so the sign is taken care of. We'll assume that.
So we find it.
We'll find it.
I have something else for new business,
Yeah, me too.
if we're getting there.
We're still here. I have two things for new business, but Bill, you go ahead first time.
I'd like to ask council's permission to attend the Good Governance, Amos Good Governance, session, which is June 11th in Almont. And I will be, I'd like to attend that day.
I'll be with you too. Did other councilors? Anyone else want to go?
I've had a couple calls.
Oh,
Sorry.
so just show of hands. Everyone allowing all night to go?
Okay.
Sure.
Finger.
I'm going Chris, it's like.
I had a couple of calls and I went down to have a look through about the microburst that went through Einquine and those other two roadways down there.
Windy Shore Breakaway. Just help it down arrow.
And they are quite bad and they were wondering if there would be a day of free brush. I did explain that it's tricky. We do have people who would go down and cut a tree that they want down anyway and bring it in. We've had it happen to us in the flood and everything else, so. I don't know.
I think if I remember, it came up before, other storm time. And it was stated that the only time they would allow it is if some event took place. Like the flood, is that right?
The last couple times it has been denied.
My mom and dad had a microburst come through their cottage resort and many years ago, and it was a disaster. And Madawaska Valley did give them permission. That was one of the things they did. They wouldn't come and help at all. Like almost every tree on our resort came down. And it was a big help to my mom's family, I know.
There's one there that it tore the
Yeah.
icon ass right off the house. And unfortunately, party's trying to sell it and it happened on the day that he had to show it, so. But
That was a state of emergency. It was not one of those declared, I think it's basically not. Planned as intended, in fact.
Maybe what we do, maybe table this or. It's a good point. Maybe when we're doing
Can you
that,
speak up, please? I can't hear you.
when we're doing that section of that type of thing. Maybe we should consider it when we're doing that section, looking at the fees. And the charges that we're putting out, maybe bring that into consideration too. We talked about that at that point. Just a thought. you know, maybe one day a year, we do a free brush then.
How many people do you think are effective? Do you have like a rough idea?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I thought you told me.
It doesn't.
A dozen?
Like I didn't walk down to the waterfront, and I know there was one guy I was talking to, his neighbor, he said, one break down across in front of his deck and his dog,
Uh-huh.
another one. They're bad. I know the boys cleaned up all along Red Rock Road where they are cleaning up with their brusher, but they did a really good job hours. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if I hadn't gone on the environmental tour, I would never have known how bad it really was.
Yeah,
I went down that.
Like, I was getting cut off.
it was bad. Yeah.
Well, just like those areas, we couldn't get. Their house and Mr. Next one, you know.
Is there any, anybody gonna feel for it, like a free day or whatever?
I would support it if we knew the names of the people who were coming, if the Delta attendees knew the name, you know?
Yeah.
There was-
On advertising.
No, but if they, you know, we just know the
The
people
address.
who would be coming with their address, I would 100% support that.
We just have to remember, though, every time there's a win,
That, this is beyond a win though, this
But
was,
it's not,
this was a
we've
microburst,
been
like,
through this before, and I feel bad because it happened. I know because I tried to deliver propane in there and I couldn't get in because the
Yeah.
lines were down. So the guy couldn't run his generator, but you do it for one, you have to do it for everybody.
we're doing it for both people.
No, and the next time the wind comes and my tree blows over, then you go do it for me.
I know, but this is why I feel this was beyond a win, and my family's been through this and it really sucked. And I think that's just a small gesture, those are some of like our biggest packs, you know, it's also like some of our,
Don't say that. it's
I know,
fair
I know,
because
but.
Don't care if they pay $10,000 a year, $3,000 a year, they still deserve the same services.
Exactly, but if this happened to somebody in town, I would want the same, if a microburst came through here, I'd want us to do the same thing, it was like when the floods happened. I wanted the township to do more for people who are affected by the floods, I think it really sucks if we keep saying no to people. All the time, like when these out of the ordinary things happen, it's just every now and then, have a heart.
What happens, Maureen, is just, it's like Carl mentioned earlier, that every weekend somebody has a tree blow over and.
I know, this isn't a tree blowing.
Where do you draw the line? To you, that tree, to that person, that tree is just as important as this one now, so. If you do it for one, you gotta do it for them all, and it's pretty hard. You can't.
Well, I think that's a
The
council.
way
I
we
think
did
that's
it in
an
the past, I
individual
know
council
was,
decision.
if it was a state of emergency, such as the flooding was. Then we allowed certain days for.
I think it was one day a week, I think.
There was
Something like
I forget now, but there was, but other than that. You're gonna have people call, I don't care what anybody says, every week, somebody has one come down, I have them come down in my place all the time too.
I remember when we had that first flood. So Stanley and I were at the Round Lakeside there. And it was free, we got ties and we got trees and we got. Deck or docks and. But that was a state of emergency too.
Sorry. So, let's. Do you want to put a motion on the floor, Harold?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody that, would like those 12 people? Yes or no? Show of hands. Or yes,
Yes.
go through. Those 12 people? If you can get the names, okay. Moving on, I have, is that? Carol, was that your last one? And Bill, you take care? Okay, so, other items on new business. I'm sure everybody has seen volunteer firefighter signs. And this is new business, even though it's old business. Can anybody read them?
Yep.
Okay, so I had a couple people call me, so
I don't care what Moscow Valley does, that's the size of the signs all over the county, I drive the county roads every day.
well,
I get it,
so they would. For $10, we have 12 signs, for $10, they would enhance them and replace them. Because ours are very small, And comparatively, the other ones are big. So. So the question on the floor is, would we spend $120 to replace the signs with bigger and bolder signs?
So you'll make all brand new signs for $10 a sign.
Or-
They'll make all brand new signs for $10.
Well, no, they have other municipalities that are putting signs up also, so we're in a blanket order, so that's why I'm sure it's a reduction. So they're gonna replace all of our signs, 12 signs we have. $10 each. So $120, they'll replace all our signs with bigger print.
And the other municipalities are doing this as well, with their signs?
Well, Madawaska, and I couldn't find out if they use the county to get their signs printed, but they're much bigger than ours.
Signs we just put on, we just wasted all that money.
So
How much were they?
What signs are we talking about?
The fire-
Green light,
So, I will vote to spend $120 to enlarge the signs.
How much did we pay for the original signs? They $48 each.
I don't even think they were that much. $35, I thought.
42.
Oh, it's $120. We're 5 minutes away from cranking.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to get this in before that.
We spent $500 on that.
throw the mush.
So, question, do we wanna spend $120 extra to enlarge the signs? Yes or no?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
1, 2, Carol,
Would it stop complaints? Yes.
this side?
No.
3, 3, 4, 3,
So that fails.
that wins.
Oh,
We get your signs.
okay.
The last item I have is,
That's what that's figures out.
on September 27th. The Upper Ottawa Valley Chamber of Commerce is having a it's called an awards gala. And for John Gakabuski. The tickets per person are $145 or a table of 8 for $875. Would council be interested in all of us to go?
What is it?
September 27th in Petawawa.
Okay, he's doing something.
Basically, it's a tribute to John Yakubowski.
What is the money going towards?
Well, I'd sooner take our money and then use it for our staff for a Christmas party. Anyone agree with me or not?
So,
Yeah, I can.
you can.
I like. No. Not first number said that.
It is.
Let me say, does anyone want to go to this?
No.
I can't, I'm gone away.
You're fishing again?
Do something.
Used to? No, you?
No, I got so.
I'm not sure, I may be interested, but
So,
I can't make that decision right now.
So the table of 8 is a no. Would council, okay if Brian and I go and this? And the cost is $145 per person.
If you're buying your own ticket,
I said, would you approve this?
I'm okay with it, because John,
Yeah.
could bust
Yeah.
did a lot of stuff for
yeah,
us. I think
I'm just teasing.
That's why I was hoping that all 8 of us could go, you know, so it would be a good night. Cause he has done a lot for the municipality. So I have approval.
I would say so.
How soon do we need to confirm that?
I'm not sure, Brian, if it's 7.
I paid for one ticket instead of replaced the signs.
Bill, I gotta see you before you go.
I'm not sure, Brian, but I'll check and find out. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you very much.
I
We'll
have
get on
one
this.
business,
Sorry.
I have new business.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I had a call. And Dean was talking to Harold about it the other night, the second chance at the dump. It's been closed since COVID. Are we planning on opening that again?
Oh,
Or not?
hang on a second. Since COVID, it has moved from its previous location to just down the stretch from where the guys stand,
Yeah,
and it's all redone inside.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But we're getting complaints that people are bringing stuff, putting it in there, it sits there for a year and then we have to throw it out. People are dropping stuff off.
They don't wanna pay the $2 or $5 and turn it into C&D, they put it in there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
2 days, they got it in there. And I've cleaned it out, I don't know how many times myself, and it's a waste of time and it's costing the whole township, it's costing taxpayers money. If it's going into the second chance, 90% of the stuff, there's a reason for it.
And we have no control over that, whoever wants, whatever they want.
Well, they do, you do have control if they did, but you have to have somebody standing there, and you have to be able to say, no, you can't do it.
And I don't think we should be putting that under, dump attendants.
No,
They don't have time to do that.
No,
This is cool.
so I'm just wondering what we're doing with it. Are we planning on shutting it down? Are we planning on?
Dean and I were talking on it again here the other day, and as far as we're concerned, the office, it's staying closed.
So it's closed right now?
Yeah.
Because last weekend, I know people that went there shopping. They, I don't know where they went shopping.
I was there last weekend and it was closed, and Darren told me himself that it's,
They go shopping in the big pile.
Okay, then,
Yeah, the C&D pile.
discussion.
Yeah, here's another thing, fire over the friggin' metals and nails and glass.
Okay, we'll have further discussion and, we'll table that. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, we're going to close.
Moved by Ted Graham, second by Marty McMillan, motion to put into committee in the whole, be it resolved that Killen Schools meeting complaint section 39 of the municipal act of 2001 as amended for the following link of personal matters about an identified individual, including municipal or local board employees.
All of you,
Go find that check.